Thank you for watching this video, Radar of Power Prices in Brazil, edition of March 21st, 2018. I am Rafael Herzberg, an energy consultant based in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Our agenda will cover power supply, power demand, power prices, references, and opportunities that might be captured. The country's power matrix in March is shown in this slide. 78% is hydro, 15% is thermal, and 7% is wind. Of course, we have other sources, but they are very small compared to these three ones. The country's power demand integrated by the hour is shown in this picture, and this is specifically for a weekday, in this case of March 16th, but it's pretty standard. So what we have here is a fairly low demand during the first hours of the day, and then in the morning it starts to build up till the middle of the day, and by the middle of the afternoon it reaches the maximum demand, and then it begins slowing down again. This is a very important piece of information, and we call it marginal cost of operations. It's published by the independent system operator, and it's the cost associated to delivering one additional megawatt hour using the existing power generation infrastructure. Right now, in the month of March, the marginal cost of operations is around 220 reais per megawatt hour. And if you would like to see this in a dollar per megawatt hour value, you just have to divide by 3.3. The marginal cost of operations since 2005 is shown in this slide. We can see two different times. The first one, from the beginning to 2011, we had very well-behaved power prices and with a fairly low volatility. Then it began climbing up and increasing its volatility. One of the best explanations for higher prices and higher volatility is looking at what's happening with our reservoirs that feed our hydropower plants. For a number of years, we've had very well behaved water reservoirs in the north, in the northeast, and in the south. These three curves are in the bottom line of this slide, but the reservoirs that really matter for the country are the ones in the southeast, and these are shown in the red line, and they represent about 70% of all the water that is stored in our reservoirs. And the blue dotted line indicates what's happening with these water reservoirs in the southeast. A substantial decrease year after year. This shows our current situation. The nominal capacity of our reservoirs in Brazil, they do have the equivalent of 4.5 months of power consumption. The current level of our reservoirs is about 2 months. So it means that 2018 has become quite critical, especially because right now we are about to end the rainy season, and for half a year now we will have to survive with the existing current storage. So the bottom line is that we might expect the dispatch of more thermal power plants. And of course, here in Brazil, they are way more expensive than the hydropower plants because they cost expensive fuel, typically natural gas, coal, or even biomass. So the bottom line is the marginal cost of operations is supposed to increase a lot this year. So accordingly, future power prices are supposed to go way up also. On the other hand, the demand for power is increasing steadily, especially now that Brazil is coming out of a very heavy recession, and the independent system operator, as well as most economists, they are anticipating a quite strong gross domestic product this year of 2018, and accordingly a lot more power usage. So we have in one hand the lower availability of cheaper power resources, and on the other side of the balance we have a growing demand. This slide shows what's happening with power prices offered by the market as of March 21st, 2018. We have two types of power available. The subsidized power for smaller industrial, commercial, and institutional energy users, and the conventional power, which is specifically designed for the larger energy users. At the end of the day, these two types of power prices, they end up having the same final value, because the subsidized power price does have an important discount on the power bill. So at the end of the day, both prices are equivalent. But what we can see is that 2019 we have subsidized power prices of 290 reais per megawatt hour, and the conventional is 220. And then for the next 2 years we see a drop in power prices. It means that all the difficulties that we are anticipating this year are being reflected for the next year. Timing has become critical in my opinion. My suggestion is closing power deals right now. We know that the reservoirs are too low, and this is not a short-term situation. So in my opinion, this will still aggravate future power prices because the scarcity of power supply. On the other hand, according to most of the in-country economists, the country is booming right now out of recession, as already said. So the demand for power is going way up. Bottom line, power prices tend to go way up as well. So closing power deals, taking advantage of the fairly good prices for 2020 and 2021 is it's a really good catch. The spot power prices as published by the power clearing house CCEE is shown in this picture, and we can see that the average is fairly high, slightly above 300 reais per megawatt hour, or about $100 per megawatt hour. It's way above the power prices that are offered for future delivery in 2019, 20, and 2021. For March to 2018, we anticipate that power prices in the spot market will be around 200 reais per megawatt hour. Now let's associate the power matrix with the marginal cost of operations. As already indicated in a previous slide, about 85% of our power matrix is renewable, like hydro and wind, and about 15% is thermal. So if we consider that the current marginal cost of operations for a renewable source is around 200 reais per megawatt hour, and the thermal power plants, they have a marginal cost of operations of about 1,500 reais per megawatt hour, it means that we may weigh an average cost at roughly 400 reais per megawatt hour. And this is way higher than the references that we have been talking in the previous slides. In my opinion, a contamination is at stake, so to speak. I guess that the short-term power prices have the tendency to drive the long-term ones, because the water reservoirs is not a short-term situation, nor the power demand, the country's power demand also. The proposed strategy is combined in three aspects. Close long-term power deals now. The idea is to capture still attractive power prices for 2020 and the following years, because up to now these prices have not been contaminated. Thank you very much for watching this video, and here goes my contact information. I am looking forward to hearing from you.